As part of his American Families Plan, President Biden wants to provide universal preschool to 3- and 4-year-olds. The goal is to expand a shrinking middle class and support economic growth. But preschool has also been a key part of the war on poverty, dating back from the 1960s with federally funded Head Start program. The program is administered locally by ABCD, which hopes it will be used as a model for making preschool universal. To tell us about the program is ABCD's Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer, Sharon Scott-Chandler. Thank you very much for being with us, Sharon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Sharon, preschool is a lot more pervasive than it used to be. So people who might think, oh, this is just another preschool program, but Head Start, it's really a much broader strategy to lift people out of poverty. Explain, how does it work exactly?
Yes, so Head Start started in 1965 as part of the war on poverty, and it really focuses on the whole family, supports child development, obviously, but it really comes from the place of children thrive when their families are healthy and also involved in their education. So Head Start is a comprehensive early education program with not only the academic sort of component to it, but mental health and health component to family supports, helping folks find housing, work, and other things that really make the whole family successful. And those families who are more well-resourced, those are kind of taken for granted. But with our families and the communities that we serve, those opportunities are not there. And so we try to help the whole family.
I know in 65, doing that on this scale was a new thing, working with families who didn't have access to this kind of education before. How has the program evolved over the years?
Well, as you said, in 1965 and early on, it was just a summer program. So it was really sort of this intensive targeted effort. And now, many, many years later, Head Start is obviously a school year program. And in many cases, it's a full year program. So it also operates in the summer in some communities that have the resources. But also it's evolved because child development has evolved and brain development research and studies and all that we know. So Head Start is on the cutting edge and has kept up with all of that research. It has been able to implement various curriculums from STEM to arts and the like, and incorporating all that we know about brain development and getting to children as soon as possible with nurturing and education and experiences that develop their mind, their curiosity, and ready them for life and school. And Head Start has been able to do that over the years. All of the experts have always been part of Head Start, even since those early days, but continuing to be part of focusing on what is needed for the most vulnerable children in our society.
You can also say that parents raising children evolve as well. How did Head Start help them do that in a better way?
A core tenet of Head Start from the beginning, and again, that has stayed true to this day, is that parents are children's first teachers, that they really want the best for their children. They want everything that every other parent who has more resources does. They just need help doing it. And so again, over the years and still today, parents are involved in their children's learning. So they are a partner in that learning. We partner with them. If they need, sort of advice or help or understanding about the curriculum, we do that. They are also part of our core programming. So we don't do anything at Head Start without the parents. So hiring, terminations of staff, we look to the parents to say what they want in their child's teacher. They have an aspect, just like we have an aspect that we're looking for in staffing. The meals, so children every day get healthy meals, and we incorporate parents' feedback because Head Start is a diverse program. We have probably 100 different languages, and so it's 100 different cultures and experiences, and we incorporate that into our menus, into our daily sort of curriculum and activities. We bring that because parents bring that as well.
It might be a tall order to have all the qualified staff and all of the necessary space in place instantly for universal pre-K. But if you did have that, How much of a difference would that make here in Boston?
It would make a huge difference. We are, especially within the 0 to 3 space, there is huge demand for this programming. And again, going back to brain development, it is such a critical time. So we could really go a long way for children's preparation for school later on. So in all communities, and including Boston, that would be a huge benefit.
What about the effectiveness of this program? I mean, this program has generated a plethora of studies. Some of them are very positive. Some of them are rather skeptical. What should people make of this?
Well, I think, we often say that studies can say varying things. We know the studies that have really talked about what Head Start can do for children, and it's have positive impact. There are a lot of things that go along the way. There's been some studies that say fading in 3rd grade. I mean, there's so much that happens between when children leave Head Start at 4 years old and into kindergarten through 3rd grade. So I'm not sure that is always, it's certainly not an indicator of Head Start's efficacy.
What about what you've heard from parents over the years who've been involved in Head Start? Anything they tell you, even if it's just this anecdote about one child?
We have many stories from parents, and we have parents involved in our program even after their children move on to kindergarten. Parents tell us, my life has changed because of participation in Head Start. We have thousands of stories of children who go on to college, who go on to careers, who have really taken what they learned in those early years and utilize them throughout their future. And again, I emphasize that it's 2 generational. It is really not just children, it's parents and families who say, my life, my relationship with school has changed. So when they move on to the public school, they're the active parents because they've already had that experience within the Head Start program. So we, and there are thousands of people that can come back to tell you. I think even the president of the Ford Foundation was a Head Start child. So we know that Head Start really works.
Well, whatever happens to the president's proposal is going to be a matter of politics in Washington. Part of that is sort of a campaign against programs like Head Start, saying, well, let's make it easier for families to school their kids at home until they're 5 years old. What do you say about the growth in that, at least in some parts of the country?
Well, I think that, and again, no disrespect to homeschooling, because we still believe that the parents are the child's first teacher, but so many families need more resources and need that support in giving their child the best start. And so we feel like the Head Start model allows that. The Head Start model gives comprehensive supports to families. And so to those, I would say we don't need Head Start. Look at all of the positive benefits that children and families have had and where they might be if they didn't have Head Start. And we know that that's a sad reality, that those kids who haven't had Head Start are in a different place when they get to school. So I think, we're so excited that there's a lot more talk about early childhood, whether it's universal or just increasing access and the focus and importance on the youngest years, because, for so long, it wasn't even talked about. We do need to move to it, and I'll put in a plug, really investing in the workforce, because it's a workforce that is not valued enough. We need to get our salaries higher. We need to recruit more diversity into the fields, because our children really deserve that attention and investment.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
It was Sharon Scott-Chandler from ABCD. We'll have more news in just a moment.